Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is a comedy podcast where in each episode Amber and I choose a topic and we talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark and with me as always is my lovely wife, Amber.
Hello.
Why are you laughing at that?
Because in your notes it says it's my blank, Amber. So I was wondering what you were going to throw in there.
I leave a blank there in case I can think of something funny to say.
A lot of times it goes with our theme of the episode.
I know. Well, I was thinking about doing like a Swiss Family Robinson themed. This is the Elizabeth to my William kind of a situation. But
I would not know what you were talking about.
That was a little obscure.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Now everybody's going to think that our episode is all about things that are lovely.
That could be.
But actually, this is episode 29, and we are talking about survivors.
That's true.
In this episode, we are going to have a What's Making Me Happy segment. We're going to have a top 5 where we talk about survivors in pop culture. And we're going to have a brand new segment called Superfight.
Yes, I'm very excited about that. And as always, you can contact us or leave feedback on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter at SegmentsCast, or send us an email at segmentscast@gmail.com. So let's clarify, Amber, for our lovely listeners, what we mean when we say survivor. We're talking about a lot of things in the survivor genre.
Yeah, longtime listeners may remember that we covered the last season of the television show Survivor.
Longtime listeners.
Airs on
It's like
CBS.
6 months ago, or 3 months ago.
And any of you who were curious, there's a new season starting very soon, and you may have thought, are they going to cover that again?
No. We don't have. We enjoyed it a bit.
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah, it was. It was just too much. And so with school and we tried to get it out, and so we would stay up late on, what night was it on? Wednesdays, and we'd stay up late and record and try to, and it just ended up being so much work. And then we're sitting there watching Survivor, scribbling notes madly.
Wait, pause that.
As opposed
rewind.
to actually, you want to enjoy, you want to take in Survivor for all of its excitement and all of its glory. And we lost some of that in the recording process.
For sure. I really enjoyed just the talking about it with you. And that's the reason we did the podcast in the first place. We just didn't think about all the note-taking and all the editing and the
expectations of our listeners that we get things accurate and are interesting.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how many expectations they had.
We will be watching Survivor. We're very excited about that new season starting.
Yes, David versus Goliath season.
Oh yeah, and I've even seen that they're starting to release some of the cast for that season, but I've not looked at any of it. I've not had time to.
It doesn't really matter if we don't have to report on it.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great season. We're going to have a good time. I'm sure that we will keep our listeners up on what is happening in the world of Survivor, just like Amber has so faithfully kept us up on what is happening in the world of Big Brother, which hopefully 86 days later is coming to an end eventually.
When you said faithfully keeping listeners updated, I don't know if it counts if they haven't heard from us in probably over 30 days.
Yeah, it has been a long time. Amber, why is that?
Life just happened. Life got in the way.
Yeah, life happens.
We've just been fielding dozens of emails and frantic texts wondering where we are, what's happening. Everyone's commute is so quiet and lonely.
Yes.
But
it's been disheartening for many, but don't worry. We're back. We are here. We have not pod faded. We are committed.
Was that a thing? Pod
fade? Oh, it's a big thing.
I mean, I've listened to people who have pod faded. I just haven't heard that word.
Yeah. And so in August and early September, Amber's life gets crazy. I was, as some of you may remember, I was on a mission trip to Mexico, and then I came back and then getting ready for school and all this stuff. It was just a crazy time, and we just had no spare time to actually release an episode. So we're hoping to get back on track here, and we're going to continue for the rest of the year shooting for that 15th and 30th release date each month. And I think we can do it. We did it all last year. We might miss one or two here or there. And if you don't want us to miss any, please start supporting us financially.
No.
You can sign up on our Patreon.
We do not have a Patreon.
We do not have a Patreon.
You can support us by signing up on Squarespace. I'm just kidding. We do not have any ads. One thing, though, that I wanted to say Oh, just a little behind the scenes is that we want to be able to move forward. The recording of the podcast in itself doesn't take that long. It's kind of fun. But the prep and then the editing, Mark is in charge of the editing. That really is a process. And so we are going to just kind of simplify what we've been doing and maybe not do some of the things that take a little bit more research for now with the busy school year.
Yeah, so everybody that's tuning into segments for the educational component, that is going to actually come down a smidge. But, it's still going to be that high-quality entertainment that you were looking for.
I'm sure.
And we will still keep you company on that drive to and from work or, milking the cows or whatever it is that you're out there doing. All right, Amber, do we have any feedback? We have to go way back.
Yeah, we have had some feedback. It looks like we had an email from listener and previous guest, Drew.
Yes, Drew.
He was referring back to our Star Wars top fives. He had a correction for us. We love corrections. And he said that we referred to Admiral Hux. It was actually General Hux that we were talking about in our top five. And it's an easy mistake to make because he's always on a ship and never on the ground.
I like that. I would like to know which one of us said Admiral Hux. But who can know? We'd have to go back and listen to that episode.
It was so long ago.
Looks like he also gave us his Star Wars top five. So this is fun. Favorite location, Yavin 4. So that's the Rebel base from episode 4. I think they're also on Yavin in the beginning of Rogue One. Am I correct?
I do think Yavin was revisited, yes.
His favorite vehicle, the Star Destroyer.
I liked the Super Star Destroyer, but, whatever.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah.
He likes Kylo Ren. Are you surprised that Drew likes Kylo Ren?
No. I mean, Kylo Ren's amazing, but I think, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think, he says that Kylo Ren is the best part of the new trilogy. Interesting. He's a good part of the new trilogy.
That could be argued.
Drew, you're going to have to come back on the show, and we'll debate Kylo Ren, or we'll debate the best part of the new trilogy.
Maybe.
That'd be fun. And then his favorite hero is Anakin Skywalker. The first 6 films are a story about his life. Yes, that is true, and everybody loves Anakin. Good guy, bad guy. We don't know.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Aren't we all? Aren't we all Anakin Skywalker?
I love that. That's true.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Haven't we all killed a Padawan or two? Just kidding. Okay, I'm going to stop that analogy.
Figuratively.
A figurative Padawan for sure, just this morning. We have a Facebook comment next from Jill. Jill has listened to our episode about movies that are so bad they're good. And she said in the Battlefield Earth review, she found it incredibly entertaining when me, Amber, talked about fraud being committed in the budget process and that some money was stolen. And then I said the value, $31 million, was stolen. So Jill said, if $31 million is my version of some money, could I lend her some?
Yeah, and that was...
It was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money and a terrible movie. So that brings up something, Amber, before we move on. We did get a chance to watch Sharknado
6.
It's
about time.
It's about time. And I would say it wasn't the best of the Sharknado.
No, and it wasn't so bad it was the best either.
It was like so bad. It was just one of those movies that was bad.
It was just bad. Yeah.
And
I mean, it had some throwbacks to other Sharknadoes or whatever. There was some parts that made us chuckle, but it was really more of a groaner, and it missed some of the elements necessary for a movie to be so bad it's good.
Yeah. So they did kind of tie up that 6 episode series, and I guess that's nice, but because they kind of came full circle, remember?
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know spoilers. I won't spoil it for you guys out there going to watch Sharknado 6. But if you haven't seen Sharknado 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 6 might leave you wanting.
Yeah. That would be hilarious to have that be the first one you've seen.
Yeah, don't watch that one first. Oh, that would be great.
Oh,
so anyway, we somewhat enjoyed that. So Amy also gave us some feedback, Amber. She said, another great podcast. Thank you. Thanks, Amber, for winning me a sticker.
Yay.
I would have lost that quiz for sure. Amber, what quiz is she talking about?
That was the bad movies. The bad movies quiz.
The bad movies quiz. Oh, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
2 movies that I think are so bad they are funny is Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
I've heard of that, but I've certainly never seen it.
I've never seen it. And The Blob.
Classic, I think.
I think that maybe I have seen The Blob.
Is it black and white?
I feel like it's black and white.
I feel like I saw it on like a USA Up All Night movie when I was a kid or something.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
And they also love MST3K. So
Of course.
awesome. So we're glad you have that sticker, and I'm sure it's prominently displayed somewhere. We did send that sticker, right?
Yes, but it was late because I had to get an envelope that was wide enough. I didn't have to fold the sticker. That
Good.
would ruin it.
Yeah, that would ruin it.
Yeah.
So, well, Amy, if you don't have your sticker yet, it is almost to you.
Well,
I would run out
let
and
us
check
know.
your mailbox right now,
Yeah,
actually.
If you don't have it yet, it should be there by now.
Okay, so Amber, what is making you happy right now?
Well, what's making me happy is also making me a little nervous.
Oh, interesting.
So it's kind of exciting. Just this afternoon, I signed us both up for a 10K.
A 10K?
10K. And there may be people who don't know us that are listening. I'm like, oh, sure. I bet they're sporty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're not.
We're not sporty.
We're not sporty. Kind of the impetus for this, is that the word? Is that we are planning to go on a trip to Israel in January. I think we've mentioned that on the podcast before as part of Mark's school. I'm tagging along. And we were told that we need to be ready to walk 6 to 7 miles a day, up to 10 miles on the longest day of hiking around the ruins of Israel, I can imagine. So 6 miles is about 10K, and we've been working on walking all summer, really. And we did walk 10K once.
Yeah, and it's just short of 10K a couple times.
Yeah. So we were working our way up there, and I thought, like, why don't we just sign up for an actual event to keep us motivated in the fall? Because in the summer, at the beginning of the summer, we were really motivated, and then it's hot, and it's hard to make yourself get out there. So I just kind of searched around where's some 10Ks in the area. I really wanted it to say 10K walk run specifically because I'm walking people. Mark does a good walk run, but I'm a walker. And we happened to find one in Vandalia, Michigan, which is where the church that we go to is located. It's
Yeah,
a very
it's awesome.
small town. So I'm excited. I signed us up. We're going to get a T-shirt.
Oh, that's fun.
I'm pretty excited
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't think my folks, they did some 5 10Ks back when I was a little person, but I've never done one myself, so I'm excited to get out there. And
There's it goes up to a half marathon, so there'll be some people that are going longer than us.
okay, so
But,
some people say there's a real excitement. It's just you just get into doing these runs and
It
stuff,
could be
and so
fun.
maybe we'll just get addicted to it. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows what's going on?
I did about half that distance today in just under an hour, so I should be able to,
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you.
yeah.
Nice job.
So that was my one thing. And then, of course, the Big Brother update. I wonder if there are any listeners watching Big Brother. Nobody's chimed in, so probably not. But remember, Big Brother is like Survivor, but it's inside a cushy house in Los Angeles. We gradually vote each other out. It's much more of a social game, although there are competitions and heads of the household and people that are on the block to get nominated to get sent home.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you saying that Survivor is not a social game?
Oh, Survivor is. The only I was starting it by saying it's like Survivor, but it's in a cushy house. And then I said I would say maybe more social just because there's less of there's not a issue of whether or not you're going to survive in the cushy Big Brother house. You might get a little bit bored, but there's not going to be scorpions. There's not like you've got to catch your food or you're going to be starving all night long. That aspect's not there. So in that sense, it might be more of a social game, although the social game is very important
Very
in Survivor.
important. Okay, I'm with you now.
Big Brother is going well. I think Mark was right. We're at day 85 or 86. It's wrapping up, I think, next week or the week after. So very soon
Finally.
here, the end of September. And my favorite player is still in the house. Go Tyler. There's been really exciting at the beginning, a lot of unpredictable moves. And then the last few weeks have been pretty predictable. There was a great blind side this
blind
past,
slide.
this past
Blind
week.
slide. They didn't know where they were
And
going to end up.
the old famous double eviction episode.
Yeah.
That was exciting, but yeah, I'm anxious to see how it ends up.
What's difficult for me in watching shows like Survivor or Big Brother is that I cannot help but root for whoever is on the bottom of the totem pole, whoever looks like they are the underdog. And so the people that I'm always rooting for these new people and the people that are getting voted out. So it's disheartening every episode.
Yeah, I find myself frequently voting for them, but apparently not all the time. There's certain characters that I feel like are more deserving to continue on.
That's a better way. Because I think you remember last season of Survivor, at the very beginning, I was rooting for the guy who ultimately won. oh man, I can't remember his name.
Nope.
But we just saw that he and Dominic were just dominating. I got more and more hopeful that somebody that was the underdog would come up, and that they would swoop up and overthrow these guys that were just running the whole show. But it didn't happen. Anyway, it was a great season, and so there you go. It's just a little inside.
It's fun when somebody kind of rises up and topples the
Exactly.
power
There's
structure.
somebody that makes a big move, right?
Yep.
So there you go.
Well, cool. What's making you happy, Mark?
Well, we've already kind of covered it a little bit, Amber, but I'm very excited that at the end of the month, Survivor is coming back.
Yay.
David and Goliath. And
Yeah.
so the premise of this season is that there's one team of Davids. And so these are people that have always succeeded and they've had a lot of things go their way in life. They're wealthy, or they have good jobs, or they're athletic. And then that's the Goliaths.
I was going to say.
That's the Goliaths.
David was a man after God's own heart, and he was blessed, but I don't think that's the way Survivor is spinning it.
They're going
Okay.
the other way. And so the Davids are actually kind of the underdogs and the people who've had to really scrap for everything that they've got. And, the deck was
stacked against them. Yes.
Exactly. And so they have to, and so the idea is who's going to win, these people that have had everything handed to them and are really successful, or the people who have to fight really hard for everything they've got. And it should be interesting. I don't know. I'm not super like, oh, that's the best theme I've ever heard.
Right.
And I'm kind of hoping they don't have the Exile Island, Ghost Island kind of situation. I don't really like that.
That would be crazy to throw it out. I feel like it's been pretty consistent the last few years.
I guess so. And we'll see. So I'm excited. I kind of hope that they get rid of. I think that the number of idols has been increasing steadily over the last few seasons, and I'd like to see that kind of get pulled down a little bit. Maybe get back to some classic Survivor, or what I understand to be classic Survivor.
Yeah.
And so that's coming out, and it's going to be really, really fun. I hope we have time to watch it.
Great.
Oh, and one other thing, Amber. You may remember a few episodes back, I talked about the steaminess meter.
Yes, I did.
On Audible. And it was when I was listening to Twilight.
Right.
And it was good, and we watched the movie, and it was good. Well, I was looking for a fiction book to listen to as school started. Something light. Sometimes you just need to. I've got so much heavy reading right now. Sometimes you just need something that is kind of frivolous that you can listen to. So I thought, oh, what's more frivolous than New Moon? And I knew that you would be excited that I was listening to it.
Blesses me.
Yeah, and so this one, the steaminess seems. I don't know. It seems very low steaminess.
Yes.
Though Jacob does have his shirt off quite often here at the middle portion of the book. And he just
literally runs hot.
He runs hot. And so that is a little bit steamy. But there is, what I have noticed more than anything is the annoyance meter. Bella is incredibly annoying in this book. She is, so... spoiler alert, okay? If you want to skip these New Moon spoilers, just skip ahead about 45 to 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so Edward has left Bella because she got a paper cut and then fell down and sliced her arm open. I don't know how that happens. She's very klutzy.
She is very klutzy.
And all the vampires were like, oh, this girl can't handle being in this town anymore. We're leaving or whatever. And she is super devastated.
Devastated.
Healthy.
Unhealthy.
Like very unhealthy.
For sure.
And she's so, I'm just like, and she treats everybody so terribly from that point on that I'm just like, she might as well be a vampire because she's so anti all humans.
Yeah.
And it's like, it just makes me think, this whole Edward thing is unhealthy. Hopefully I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully he doesn't come back. Bad news. It looks like things are not going to work out with Jacob either. I think that maybe she should just kind of hook up with that guy that she works with in the sporting goods store. Mike, he's just a regular guy.
He is.
Is he going to be great? No, but he's just going to be it's going to be solid, you know? And so that's what I think. Just settle.
Yeah.
Just settle. What are your thoughts, Amber?
Yeah, you know, I think that she probably could have been happy with Mike. I think it is interesting. I think teenage girls do get, you know, a little obsessive, and it is unhealthy. And it's an unhealthy picture to put out there to teenage girls who read the book, that's an okay way to react over a guy that you've known for just a few months, really.
Yeah. I wonder if I could write like teen fiction where the girl, where she just kind of settles for just kind of a regular guy. And she goes, you know what? That super hot guy, it's probably not worth it. You know, like a whole series of those. And just to kind of extol the virtues of kind of your average, not super hot guy. Kind of like, you know, maybe he's balding a little bit. He's a little bit overweight. But, you know, he's super into PUBG, and that's probably fun.
That's interesting characteristics.
So anyway, there you go. We'll see how this book ends up. I will keep you posted. I'm looking forward to watching New Moon, the movie, which
I'm looking forward
was
to that too.
critically panned everywhere that I've looked at reviews. So that should be a good time. So
It will be a good time.
very steamy.
No.
Segment 1, Top 5 Survivors. All right, Amber, we are doing one of our classic top 5s. This should be a lot of fun. And so this is going to be our top 5 people who have played in Survivor over the last 36 seasons.
We've seen about 4 of those. So it's mostly going to be from those 4. That's not what it's about. Don't turn off your radio.
No. So what is it actually about, Amber?
We just thought we'd think of people who survived maybe dire situations or intense situations in pop culture, books, movies, TV shows, etc.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this. I think this is a fun list. I'm excited to see what you've got. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first? You talk first, I talk first.
You go first.
I'll go first. All right, so my number 5 top survivor is, drum roll, Gloria Gaynor. She sang a little tune called I Will Survive.
She did sing that.
And while she did not write the song, I can just tell by her vocalization that she has survived a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And
You wouldn't be able to deliver like that if you hadn't actually survived.
yeah, so the song was written by some guy.
If you were dead, you couldn't even sing.
Exactly. Unless you were Edward. I imagine he sings very beautifully.
I love it.
So it was written by some guys about a very bitter breakup. They describe the personal strength that Gloria reveals after this terrible breakup. And that was very, very popular in 1979.
Wow.
But it's been an anthem for all of us who have gone through difficult situations, and we will sing I Will Survive.
Absolutely.
And so let me just give you just some of the lyrics. I can't sing them or else we will be taken off the Spotify and iTunes lists.
Okay.
So, at first I was afraid. I was petrified. Kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong. And I learned how to get along. And so you're back from outer space. I just walked in to find you here with that sad look upon your face. I should have changed that stupid lock. Should have made you leave your key. If I'd known for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me. And so it just continues on, right? And she doesn't need that guy anymore.
No.
And so that's my number 5, Gloria Gaynor, giving us the soundtrack for our own survival, I Will Survive.
Do you think that Bella should sing that?
Yes, if she should. And she will survive the breakup with Edward, and she'll probably survive the marriage to Michael. You know, it's going to be fun. It's not going to be exciting. It's not going to be great. It's going to be a lot of high school football games.
Yeah.
But
it's just part of Forks. Forks life.
It's going to be fine.
Forks, Washington.
There you go. My number 5, Gloria Gaynor.
That's a great one.
Thank you very
Gave
much.
me chills just listening to those beginning lyrics.
So powerful.
It really does stir you up. All right. Well, my number 5, more interesting storyline than amazing show, but is literally called Designated Survivor.
Designated Survivor.
So That was a TV show that came on a couple of years ago. I do believe it's not going any longer. Actually,
Longer?
I heard it might. I heard it might have got picked up by Hulu or something. We only watched the first few episodes of the
but
first
we enjoyed
season.
it.
It's just a really cool idea. So it starred Kiefer Sutherland, and he was the designated survivor for the presidency of the United States or the government. So they're having one of their big meetings in the... Where do they meet?
The Rotunda.
We know a lot about
The
government.
governmental White House
The
Rotunda. They're all there.
Rotunda. All the senators, all the president, the vice president,
All the big
speaker
shots.
of the House. All those people were there. So they set aside somebody in a separate room that's the designated survivor in case something catastrophic happens. That's a real life thing. So, believe it or not, in the show, something catastrophic happened.
Oh, my goodness.
Luckily, it was Kiefer Sutherland who was set aside in the room. But so the entire government is bombed. Everybody's dead. And he is there, but there's nobody to, like, help him. I mean, there's the secretaries or whatever in the White House. But he has to start over again with a brand new government. America's obviously under attack. There's concern about whether or not it was partially an inside job. And it was just very exciting. It was really cool to watch somebody act through the scenario of never having wanted to be president. He was just like a building and roads commissioner or something like that. He had no real governmental ambition. It was a really cool idea. It got kind of bogged down and drawn out storylines. I guess we probably watched the whole first season. I feel like I saw quite a few episodes.
I think we moved into the second season, maybe.
Yeah, a lot of conspiracies, and it just didn't.
And there was that lady, the FBI lady that was trying to track down whoever was responsible.
Yeah, you're right. We made it to the second season.
And there's a lot. It was a fun story, and who knows? It might have ended well and been fun. It just got.
Didn't keep our. It was one of those things that piled up on the DVR. And like, well, we've got 8 episodes of that. Do you want to watch that? No, let's watch a rerun of something else. I'm like, well, we might as well just delete it.
Yep.
So what really made me laugh about that show is when you couldn't remember the name of it one time, and you're like, let's watch that. What's that? Despicable President. So that's what I like to call it after that. Let's watch Despicable President.
Yes. Very apropos, isn't it? Anyway. All right. Well, that's great, Amber. I love that one. All right, well, my number 4 survivor is a little gentleman we like to call Robinson Crusoe.
Whoa.
All right, and this was obviously a novel written by Daniel Defoe, first published in 1719.
What? Really? I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah, and I read it for the first time. We were living on F Avenue when Emma was a very little baby, 6 months, 7 months old.
About 20 years ago, then.
About 20 years ago, and it starts off, and it's kind of obviously written in the 1700s, so that the English is kind of a little bit challenging to get used to at first.
Yeah.
But what I had discovered was I couldn't put this book down. The story of Robinson Crusoe. He's this kind of unlucky character, and he has a bunch of bad stuff happens, but ends up he gets shipwrecked, right, all alone on this island. And it's just him just trying to survive. Eventually, this other guy somehow ends up on the island, and he names him Friday. And it's just, but I don't know what it is about that book. I just absolutely love it. It's one of my top 5 fiction books that I've ever read. I think everybody should read Robinson Crusoe. And it's just this great story of faith and survival and dealing with difficult circumstances. And Robinson Crusoe, I like it because the book doesn't paint him as like this great heroic guy. He's got his stuff, right? And he's just working through it. And anyway, I don't want to spoil it if he gets off the island or not. But it's great. Anyway, so my number 4, I don't have much more to say about it than that, is Robinson Crusoe. What a great survivor.
It seems like a classic.
It not only seems like a classic, Amber, it literally is a classic.
Huh. In my mind, it kind of goes to the same place as like black and white movies, where I understand that they could be really good. It's just hard for me to want to engage with them.
It is so good. It has stood the test of time.
Right.
And that's what you have to think about, these old classic books and these black and white movies that are still being shown and people are still watching, is that they've stood the test of time because there's something of intrinsic value in there that they are communicating to us. So,
all right, I
good
can
stuff.
see that.
jump in, read Robinson Crusoe, and I will look forward to your report in our next episode.
Okay. My number 4 pop culture survivor is from another classic stood the test of time network called the CW.
Mm-hmm. So powerful. So powerful.
It's from the TV show called The 100. Do you have any of those on your list?
Nay.
The character that I picked from the show is Jaha. If anybody's watched Survivor, or not Survivor, The 100. Just a real quick information. It takes place far in the future after a nuclear...
100 years?
Is it 100 years? Mm-hmm. I mean, the 100 is talking about 100 people, but also 100 years. Okay, 100 years in the future after the whole country or world was decimated by nuclear attack. Most of the surviving people went up to the space stations and lived up there for 100 years. But the space stations are slowly dying, running out of resources. They have farming and stuff up there, but the air quality is getting worse, and they have no room for criminals. If you're over 18 and you commit a crime, you're immediately just booted out to space.
Yeah, you're sucked out an airlock.
Yeah. If you are under 18 and you commit a crime, then there is a place to go, jail or whatever. But they decide that it's time to test the earth and whether or not it's safe for people to go down there. So they send 100 juvenile delinquents down to earth.
As you would.
Yes. Surprisingly, chaos ensues. But,
surprisingly, CW picked that up.
Teenagers surviving at a nuclear wasteland. There's a whole bunch of exciting things that happen. I'd say the first 2, maybe 3 seasons of that show are fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's still going. It's very dark and has a lot of violence now. Things are not going well.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't want to, if somebody does want to watch it, then I guess you have to skip this part. But it's been out for a few years.
Oh, yeah.
So at some point, other people leave the space station and come down to Earth. Jaha is the leader, and somebody has to stay behind to, push eject on the ships or whatever. And so he stays up on the space station. He's the only one. Everybody else goes to Earth. He hopes they make it safe. He's just going to die on the space station, like the captain goes down with the ship. And then he goes into this, weird, maybe oxygen deprived trance. I don't know. He ends up hallucinating that there's this baby that he's got to take care of. And then because of the baby, he decides he needs to try to get to Earth, and he couples together some kind of a weird solution to eject himself off of the spaceship. And he survives. He gets down to Earth all by himself. It was a completely hopeless situation, and somehow he makes it. So he stood out to me as the number 1 survivor in a show that is completely built around survivors.
Yeah, that's a great show, and I really do like the character of Jaha, and he, as all the characters do in that show, go through some radical motivational changes from episode to episode and season to season. But it's really, really fun. Yeah, the first 2 or 3 seasons are great, and it's kind of that thing where it's whatever season we're watching now, it's fine, but they probably should have just wrap that up.
Yeah.
But people are going to keep watching it.
It's a very cool premise. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great one, Amber.
Thank you.
So, spoiler alert, Jaha is not a survivor anymore. He did. Okay. Well, Amber, my number 3 survivor is Andy Bernard, the last survivor of the Stamford branch of Dunder Mifflin.
Gosh, I love that so much.
So, as we know, at some point, there was a merger of the Dunder Mifflins, and the Stamford people, including Jim, came back to...
Yes, Jim had left.
Whatever the main... the Scranton branch. And as far as I can remember, hopefully I'm not wrong, is that Andy was the final member of whatever it was. What did I say? The Stamford branch. The final person from the Stamford branch.
Yeah, definitely.
And he ended up being the mayor, the leader, the office.
The mayor of the office. The manager.
The manager, thank you.
Oh, Andy Bernard. I do like him a lot.
He called Jim Big Tuna, and I just loved it every time. And he would sing, and
he was in the a cappella group. He played the banjo. Remember when he got so angry they couldn't find his phone in the ceiling? Oh,
good. And then he was in a relationship with, what's her name? the short
with Angela.
and then but she was
Aaron.
also in a relationship
Dwight,
with Dwight, and that was funny. Then he was with
Aaron.
and that was he left and went to
Oh
Florida.
my gosh, he went on that ship and we got sunburned and dropped his computer.
And he was in my second favorite Office episode of all. My first favorite being Scott's Tots, which is just the best. But there's this episode where Robert California comes in and says, "No matter what, you cannot hire my wife." And then he invites his wife in, and
oh my gosh, it is the worst.
It is the most uncomfortable. And Andy's like, "Well, I'm sorry. I would love to hire you, but I just don't have any positions available." And Robert California, his boss, is like, "Andy, are you serious? There's not one single place where you can find." And so it's just this like back and forth. And every time she's gone, he's like, "You can't hire her. Don't do it." And then when she's there, and Andy is just so confused.
Oh my gosh,
it's
perfect. It's perfectly acted. Yes.
So many people say that when Michael Scott left, whatever that character, who is the actor who played Michael Scott? Oh my goodness.
Steve
Carell. When Steve Carell, that the show was terrible. I think that's not true.
No,
I think
you people need to give it a chance. He was amazing, no doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's just a different kind of amazing.
It's just a little bit different. So there you go, Amber. My number 3, Andy Bernard, the last survivor of the Stanford branch of Dunder Mifflin.
What a brilliant choice. I love it.
Yes.
My number 3 greatest pop culture survivor is Kevin McAllister.
Kevin McAllister.
Does that name sound familiar to you?
No.
One day, he woke up. His entire family was gone. They were on their way to, I don't know, Hawaii or France without him. So this is Macaulay Culkin.
Mm-hmm.
He is Home Alone. This movie came out after I was an adult, but I saw it in the theater multiple times. I thought it was pretty funny. I think I was an adult, maybe as a teenager.
Good for you.
I mean, imagine that. A small child survived multiple days without his parents. There's many ways that things could have gone wrong, even without burglars chasing him.
Mm-hmm.
So I always remember the classic scene of him putting on the aftershave that's in the previews of Screaming. Yes, but that's not a thing you have to survive. That just burns a little bit. But he had burglars trying to break into his beautiful mansion of a house, and he had to fend them off using recordings of violent TV shows and ice on the stairs and frying pans in the face, burning people. Yeah. But, I thought of him as an unexpected survivor.
Yeah, that's a great one. Would you consider that a Christmas classic?
No.
Really?
I do believe that happens around Christmas time, but it does not evoke any kind of Christmas to me whatsoever.
I feel like it just, when you say it, I just think Christmas for some reason. I think they're going on a Christmas trip.
I think so too. But it doesn't, I mean, there might be like Christmas trees in some of the scenes or whatever, but it doesn't feel
Christmassy. Interesting. Yeah, well, that's a really great one.
Thank you.
We're pausing now. Pause. All right, Amber. My number 2 top 5 survivor is, this is more than one person.
Okay.
It's the Bowman family from Colony.
Oh.
Will, Katie, Bram, Charlie, deceased, and Gracie.
And spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. So
that's a great, I forgot all about that. That's a great show.
Colony is a TV show on USA or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is USA.
And the premise is apparently we're not sure what exactly happened.
Yeah.
But aliens of some sort or something has taken over or destroyed most of the world and has put these huge walls around various cities throughout the world. Apparently,
refer to it as the Arrival or something.
The Arrival.
Like that. I don't know. Yeah.
And these are called colonies, and so the Bowmans are in the LA colony, and there's this wall you can't go in or out.
Kind of like a giant Big Brother situation.
Kind of like a giant Big Brother situation.
Right in the heart of LA.
And they seem to be kind of going about their lives, but there is these people that are working with the aliens, and they're kind of in control. And then there's these resistance people that are fighting against the people that are working with the aliens, because you don't actually see the aliens till late in the second season or something like that. And even then, it's not... Right. You just... Anyway... And what I love about it is is Will, basically, is my favorite. He is played by Josh Holloway, also a great survivor that I first met on a little show we call Lost.
Oh, man, such a good show.
They all survived. Or did they?
Yeah, for a while they did.
That's the trouble. I think it was all like purgatory or something, right?
I think they survived until the bomb or something. I think they did survive the plane crash.
No, I mean the very end of the show.
I
They
know.
revealed it.
I think halfway through the show, there's a bomb, and at that point, they die. Nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows. Thank you,
Yeah,
Damon Lindelof, and whoever else was behind that,
that's
J.J.
real-
Abrams.
Real disappointing. What happened to the smoke monster? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, was that part of the reel, or was that that was early on?
It was very early in. Anyway, but Will, played by Josh Holloway, is this kind of...
Sawyer. He was Sawyer on
He was
Lost.
Sawyer
yeah.
in Lost. He's this kind of rough and tumble guy. He's a police officer, I guess, and he's only kind of quasi working with whatever the name of the people is that's working with the aliens. But then he works with them more, but his wife is working with the resistance,
Yeah.
and there's a bunch of tension. And it's an interesting story, and they're trying to hold their family together and do what is right for them, but ultimately they realize that the greater good is more important, and so they take a bunch of really risky moves to try
absolutely.
to overthrow these aliens and just make life better for people. It's just a fun show, and they survived, and I like the whole Bowman family. And Bram is the oldest son. And I like him because he's like this morose, like sad, kind of like Bella.
Yeah, he's a teenager.
And he's
There
just
you go.
like this kind of sad, morose, always kind of depressed.
flat affect kind of a guy. Yeah.
Yeah, monotonous guy, and he's funny. So
Yep.
and they have a bunch of adventures, and it's fun. So there you go, Amber.
Great one.
The
The
Bowman
Bowman
family in Colony. My number 2 top survivor.
Awesome. Well, my number 2, it didn't occur to me till just now that might be a spoiler for you, but I guess you would have watched it by now if you wanted to. It is The Martian, Matt Damon.
Oh,
movie.
I really do want to watch that.
You do?
Mhm.
I think you'd love it.
I think I
Maybe
would
I should
too.
pick something else.
No. Carry on. I'm not listening.
Oh no, Mark, skip ahead when you're editing. The Martian is a really great movie. Came out a few years ago. Matt Damon, I don't remember the name of his character. I didn't do a lot of research. That's part of our new plan here. He's part of a mission to Mars. They're trying to decide whether or not they can have a settlement on Mars. There's a catastrophic event not too long after they get everything set up that is destroying everything. It blows Matt Damon like far away from the getaway ship, and there's only certain windows in which you can leave Mars because of whatever's going on. So everybody else had to leave, and they had to leave him behind. They thought he was probably dead. They left. He's alive, and there's no way to contact anybody, probably because of this storm or whatever the event was. And he's really far away. Like, it takes a very long time just to get to Mars. You have to go
a
through
long
some
way
kind of a time
through
sling or
space and
something. And yeah.
everything.
So he finally figures out a way that he can communicate because there's some sort of a camera or a rover set up on Mars, and he can do something where he puts up letters or signs to communicate with people back home, and they realize that he's still alive on the planet, but there's just no way to get to him. So he doesn't have anything. Everything's destroyed. The place where they were living, it's not safe to live in, so he has to try to rebuild that. He has to try to figure out how to make food, how to have water. There's really nothing set up for him. And he finally, after much horrible things, gets a place to live, but then realizes if he ever wants to get rescued, he's got to get to the other side of the planet, and he's got to use this
goodness.
rover. But once he's out there, there's nothing, and it's really cold at night and all this stuff. So it's really intense, but I thought it was really well done and exciting and terrifying situation.
Really?
I would never want to be in that. I will not
no.
sign up for any trips to the moon or Mars or anything like that.
Interesting.
Count me out.
Yeah, I would like to see that. And I seem to recall he had some sort of a ball that he drew a face on, and that was his friend that he would talk to.
Right. Because he was a really like a FedEx driver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Powerful.
making a delivery on Mars, and he just got stuck there. I think that's how it worked.
That's it.
Wilson was the
Wilson.
name of his ball.
Mm-hmm. It was a good movie.
I could have made that joke for Robinson Crusoe. It would have worked a lot better.
Yeah, I would have. Well, just do what we can.
Number
My
one.
number
Woo.
one. All right, are you ready for my number one, Amber? My
I'm ready.
number one. Remember that. This tops everybody.
Oh, boy.
Terry Dietz. Maybe you remember him from season 12 of Survivor, Panama.
Oh, Terry.
He
yes.
ended up coming
you did pick
in
a survivor.
third place against in that season. He came in third place. But what was amazing is that this guy was everybody was against him.
Yes.
He was an ex Air Force guy. What
A little bit older.
A little bit
than
older.
a lot of the people. Yeah.
Yeah, and like everybody was against him. Everybody wanted him out, and he. Oh man, Okay, here we go. So, here's some of the records that Terry held. Terry's 5 consecutive individual competition win streak is the longest of all time.
Wow.
So since
Every single
season 12 is still the longest win streak. 5 individual competition wins in a row. He had because he needed to win. Because
he would have gotten
if
sent
he
home.
would have lost anything, he would have been gone.
Absolutely.
Home.
Everybody wanted him home. Yep.
Terry's 3 individual reward competition wins are the most of all time in a single season.
Wow.
So he also has that record, the most of all-time reward competition wins. Terry's 8 total individual challenge wins are the most of all time in a single season.
Wow.
So he had 5 consecutive, which is the highest, and he had 8 total, which is the highest. And then Terry's 5 total immunity wins are tied for the first place of all time with Colby from the Australian Outback and actually a bunch of other people. So 5 total immunity wins. But those were pretty much all at the very end.
Yeah, when he really needed it.
He needed it. And like there was this one where you had to like, I don't know, hold on to a rope. And like he just knew if I let go of this rope, it's over.
Yeah.
And he just outlasted everyone. And there's one, they're going through these different mazes and they're swimming and all these terrible challenges. And he just holds on. And the whole time, he's the underdog, which helps me because I love the underdog, right? And Aris and this other girl, which I can't remember her name, were like, oh, I cannot believe he's still in this game. We're trying to get him out, and he just kept winning and winning and winning. And then in this competition that he lost, he was doing great, but he had to get his balance on this like weird thing in the water, and he fell over. And as soon as he lost immunity, he was gone.
If anybody deserved to win Survivor ever, it was Terry.
He was great. So it took me a while to find out what season he was on. But yeah, season 12,
He's only done the one.
Panama.
He hasn't come back for any All-Stars?
He has come back,
Oh, he
I
has
think
come
in
back?
14 or 15 I saw in there. But anyway, it was just so much fun. And that is one of the seasons that I went back and watched and made me go, this is just such a cool game.
Yes, absolutely.
So there you go. Terry Dietz, Survivor, season 12, Panama, 3rd place winner.
All right. That was an excellent number 1.
Thank you.
My number 1, more fictional, little lady I like to call Katniss Everdeen.
Katniss Everdeen.
She is an amazing survivor.
So good.
So she is from the Hunger Games book trilogy and movie quadrilogy. Mm-hmm. She lives in a futuristic society where everyone's divided into different...
I might even say dystopian.
Oh, dystopian. Yes, I believe. Yes, I think you're right. Different sectors or whatever. She's from the sector where everybody just mines coal, and then yearly, I believe, they cull a boy and a girl teenager from each section. I don't think they have to be teenagers. Just a man and a woman from each sector, and they put them in this fight to the death arena that's televised for the entire world
fancy pants people
to see. Yeah, especially the fancy pants people. But she gets picked, or her sister gets picked, and she volunteers to go instead.
That's actually a very powerful scene.
It really is.
It's amazing. Actually.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's reluctant. She doesn't want to do it. Some people do want to do it. They want to prove themselves or whatever, but it literally is fight to the death. So they put them all in this arena. It's very high tech. There's lots of, so it looks like you're in a jungle or whatever. It doesn't look like an arena, and there's all sorts of things that attack you, and killer stinging bees and wild animals and all these different things. And there's weapons that are available, but if you go to get a weapon, then somebody might see you and kill you because the weapons are in the middle, and it's very intense. She doesn't want to kill anybody, but it's either kill or be killed, and so she's got to really hunt people down, and people that she's very close to die, of course, in there. Spoiler alert. Gets down to the end. It's her and the other guy that she knows from her sector, and one of them are supposed to kill each other, and they don't want to. And so they decide to trick the game makers and say they're both going to eat poison berries, they're both going to die, and nobody's going to survive. And so the game makers don't want that, so they allow there to be 2 winners for the first time ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the first one. And then the second movie, she's got to go back.
Oh, rough.
I remember thinking, I can't wait to read the second book in this series because I just couldn't put the first one down. Like, well, what are they going to do? I mean, she's already survived the worst thing ever. Like, no way. They're going to make them go back. They choose winners from every district and make them go back, but they're the only winners from their district. So they have to go back.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
I
rough.
would actually like to rewatch those. I've never read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I would like reading the books. I don't know. I think they're great stories, and I've watched on YouTube because I was going to use it for a sermon illustration one time, but there's just like that moment when her sister gets picked and she says, "I volunteer as
Yes.
tribute.
Oh
I
my
volunteer
gosh.
as tribute.
Yes.
I volunteer as tribute," and it's just like this like shot. It's just saying, "I will die in the place of my sister."
Yep. She was so afraid that she'd get picked, and then as soon as it was her sister, there was no hesitation. She was just going to do
so
it.
powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good. That's a great one. Good number 1.
Thank you.
Almost as good as Terry.
Almost.
Terry probably would have dominated in the arena, I imagine.
Oh, I think so. They would have been in big trouble. Yeah.
Absolutely. Segment 2, Superfight. All right, well, Amber, this is a brand new segment, and for this segment, I purchased a new game called Superfight.
I believe that it was some Segments listeners that alerted us to, or maybe you'd heard of it, but alerted me to the presence of this game after we did our famous breakfast cereal battle royale episodes last year.
Yeah, and so this is going to be similar, and we're each going to, you draw 3 characters and 3 attributes, and we're each going to pick one of each, and we're going to pit those people against each other.
Yay.
And then in battle arena fashion. And then we're going to argue about who we think would win, but ultimately we're going to leave it up to the listeners to see who will survive.
Oh boy.
See the
It
tie
ties right in.
Who will survive the super fight. So Amber, why don't you go ahead and deal out those cards for us?
All right.
This is the fun part of the audio where we are playing a tabletop game and you are listening. Amber is currently
I get 3 black cards and 3 white cards.
okay, and so we can edit out some of the space here, Amber, but just go ahead and create your fighter. Man, I don't know what to do with this. This is not easy. I don't know how to fight with these ones.
I have a lot of negative attributes.
Guess I'll go with this. All right, Amber. I had some real great options.
Oh boy.
I have a turtle, but there's 10 of them.
Oh, there's 10 of them. Well.
So, so I'm hoping that my next attribute's a little bit more powerful.
It makes me feel like I could have gone with one of my less powerful fighters. But I have a T-Rex who's armed with a catapult and unlimited livestock.
Wow.
Your turtles could just... Never mind. I'm not going to give you any clues.
So, okay.
Now-
So we're each going to draw one more attribute and just
You have to
automatically
play it
add,
no matter
add
what.
that to it.
So now...
Mhm. I now have the 10 turtles, each of them riding a hoverboard.
Oh, well, it'll be easier to dodge my livestock. I have a T-Rex armed with a catapult and unlimited livestock, literally wearing a heart on its sleeve.
That
Its
means
own
he's very
heart?
emotional.
I think
like
his own heart.
he's wearing
Literally
his
wearing heart on sleeve.
Okay, his own heart. I like that. I can work with that. All right. So I am thinking the way the turtle, it looks bad, but as we've learned already, I like the underdog.
Yeah, you do.
But there's not just one turtle. That would be rough. And you also have, turtles, you're thinking they're pretty slow. Not these guys. They are on a hoverboard.
That's true. That does speed them
And
up.
so they are whirling around, not as big as the T-Rex, but oh, how the mighty fall. There's 10 turtles. They're swooping around, and they can easily just go and just puncture the heart of the T-Rex by hovering up to it and probably biting it with their very, very strong turtle beaks.
Whoa. All right. Well, before they can get to it, my T-Rex is just going to be hurling his unlimited supply of livestock at these hoverboards. I think just one livestock per hoverboard would take them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that because it's an unlimited supply, he's getting at least half of them down pretty quick.
I think a lot of it would have to do with what's the distance as they meet up for this battle. Is there a great distance where you can just continually load up your catapult of livestock?
Well, he's got big legs. He could run further away, the T-Rex is, because I do think he needs a little distance in order to aim the livestock. I feel like he really needs to keep his arm with the heart turned away from the livestock. Really keep that hidden in the back, because that's definitely a weakness he's got there.
Yeah, I feel like not only is his heart on his sleeve, would that also mean, doesn't that kind of imply kind of emotional? He's very susceptible to those kinds of things, and I think that the story of, you've heard of the story of the turtle, the turtle and the hare, and the rabbit and the turtle, that story, and the turtle's the underdog in that bad boy.
That's true.
And he remembers that story and just the plight of the turtle. And I think that emotionally is going to hinder the T-Rex from being able to really have his heart fully into defeating these 10 turtles.
I will
on the
use
hoverboards.
your same argument against you. He does remember that story, and he knows that he's not going to be the hare that's sleeping and lazy. He is going to do everything right. That hare could have won the race 6 times over if he hadn't made all of those mistakes. So this guy is not going to sleep on the job. This guy is just going to continue hurling his livestock. I mean, I think even though he's got the catapult, it doesn't take away from the fact that he is a T-Rex. He can literally chomp at the flying turtles as they go past. If they get anywhere close to his heart, they're also close to his mouth.
I think the question on everybody's mind is, can a T-Rex mouth chomp down on a turtle shell? We don't know.
I think
Science cannot prove
it can
that
literally
one way.
just gulp it down.
We don't know that.
Gulp it. It doesn't matter if it breaks or not. It's swallowed.
They would hover right out of its mouth. Oh, man. This is an intense battle. But, Amber, we can't decide this.
We can't.
We can't decide this. So we're going to throw it out to the listeners. You're going to be seeing a poll on Twitter and on Facebook. Who do you think is going to win? 10 turtles riding hoverboards, or
T-Rex armed with a catapult and unlimited livestock, and literally wearing heart on sleeve?
Yeah, which one will win? So T-Rex or turtle? We'll find out.
If anyone
next
wants
week.
to submit some fan art,
some fan
I would really
art.
like to see this battle in action.
Yeah, and if you want to say this is why you think that one or the other would win, that would be really, really helpful. So we will look forward to the next episode finding out who the winner is.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And as we were just discussing, we would love to hear from you. If you want to give us feedback about our top 5 list or about the Superfight, you can get a hold of us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at SegmentsCast, or via email at segmentscast@gmail.com.
We want to thank our daughter Emma for the logo and graphics. She would be happy to draw you something while she's away at college. She's taking commissions on Twitter. Is her handle still of Hauntings? I think she's Emmeline at college or something, isn't she?
Is it changed?
Maybe not. Maybe she just changed
I
the
think,
name part,
yeah,
but not the of Hauntings
Not the
part.
at, yeah.
All right. And then you can also find our nephew Gabriel, who does our intro and outro music, under EDM Samurai on SoundCloud.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope you survive September.
You will survive. I will survive. Haven't we all killed a Padawan or two?